The malevolent grip of dark forces. This is a true story. This is not just a tale, it is a reality that still lingers in whispers and shadows. This is the story of a woman who, with her cunning, dark powers and black magic, destroyed her in-laws. But perhaps, it was never truly her own choice, because what she did to others was exactly what had been done to her before. The shadow that never left. This house was once filled with happiness. Love, laughter, and peace radiated from its walls. But then, a woman stepped into it, bringing misfortune, darkness, and unseen forces that could be felt but not seen. A father-in-law under a dark spell. When she became a daughter-in-law, everything seemed normal at first. But slowly the family members began to weaken. Her first target was her father-in-law. He was a pious, devout man, but his health began to deteriorate mysteriously. Again and again he would say, "I feel like something is sitting on my chest, I can't breathe." At night, he would have terrifying dreams, as if a dark shadow was entering his room and strangling him. His condition worsened day by day until one night he lost consciousness. A few days later he passed away. But the strangest part? The place where his body was washed for burial was just another corner of the house for everyone else, except her. She was terrified to go near it. As if something lurked there, something only she could see. The devil's gate had opened. After the father-in-law's death, an eerie silence settled over the house. The walls seemed to whisper, footsteps echoed at night, and doors creaked open on their own. Then one day the youngest sister-in-law had a dream. She saw her sister-in-law digging a grave in the courtyard. When she asked, "What are you doing?" the woman turned to her with an eerie glint in her eyes and simply said, "Nothing, nothing at all." The second death, her own daughter's fate. This woman was destroying others, but she had no idea that her own doom was approaching. Her own daughter, only 7 years old, suddenly fell ill. No medicine worked. One day the woman took her to visit her maternal aunt's house. As soon as the little girl stepped inside a particular room, a room filled with the remnants of dark rituals, she began to tremble violently. "Mom, there is a huge man here. He is staring at me." The mother, panicked, covered her daughter's mouth and whispered, "Hush. There's nothing here, nothing at all." But the child kept screaming. From that day forward, the little girl was never the same. She grew weaker, as if something was draining her life away. Then, in the hospital, one fateful night, the mother saw her daughter murmuring in her sleep, as if speaking to someone unseen. When the mother looked closely, she saw a shadow standing beside the bed. And then, in a faint, weak voice, the girl opened her eyes and whispered, "They've come for me, Mom." The next morning she was dead. The fire that never went out. After this death, the woman herself began having terrifying nightmares. One night, she dreamt of her own former sister-in-law, the one who had practiced dark magic before her, standing before her with a wicked smile. "You did exactly what I did, but do you remember what happens next?" The woman looked around in horror. Shadows were closing in on her. Her body became paralyzed, she couldn't move, she couldn't scream. Then the shadows lunged at her. She woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. But when she looked into the mirror, she gasped in terror. Her own eyes had turned completely white. "She is still there." Some time later, the woman lost her mind. She wandered the streets, talking to invisible figures, banging her head against walls, and repeating the same phrase over and over again. "They are here, they've come to take me." And then one night she simply disappeared. No one saw her leave. No door was opened. No sound was heard. She was there, and then she wasn't. But they say that if you pass by that house at night, you might see her standing at the door. Her eyes are pure white, and behind her, the shadows still shift, as if she is still calling for someone. Lesson: evil always ends in destruction. This story teaches us that dark forces may grant temporary power, but their end is always horrifying. Those who dig graves for others will one day fall into them themselves. If you bring destruction to others, one day the shadow will come for you too.